All right, Alex Marlow here, editor-in-chief of Breitbart News at the Turning Point USA Student Action Summit 2020. Dave Rubin is with me, podcaster extraordinaire, YouTuber extraordinaire, author of Don't Burn This Book. Dave, a pleasure to see you in the flesh.
It's good to see you. It's good to see people. And from what I understand, these are all real people here.
Not all, but most of them are completely real. Some are cyborgs at this point. We don't know. They're walking among us.
I'm pretending that I'm basically in Battlestar, and some of these people are Cylons, and some of them are humans. It really, I mean, you know, I come here from the foreign land of Los Angeles in California, and to come from that to I just had a meal at a restaurant where a perfect stranger actually brought me food, and then in exchange for money, I ate the food and then left.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I'm completely blown away right now.
It's incredible. And this is, you're joking, but the lockdowns in Los Angeles in particular, in California, they're horrendous. Beyond oppressive, and you've escaped. Congratulations on that. Well,
I've temporarily escaped. I do still live there.
You've escaped.
I have to pick up my dog.
A couple of days.
My PlayStation's over there.
But honestly, describe the difference, because it's not like the state of California is doing better with the virus than Florida.
Well, that's the irony. I mean, if lockdowns worked, if crushing all of these businesses, making sure we didn't go outside, as Eric Garcetti, our mayor, said, canceling everything, if any of this worked, wouldn't we be seeing numbers dropping, bottoming out? We'd be down here, we would have flattened that curve. Remember when we wanted to flatten the curve? That was about 9 months. We went from 2 weeks to flatten the curve to now it's 100 days to maybe we'll see what happens in a couple months, 9 months later, right? So the whole thing's nuts. But look, the simple truth is here we are in Florida where it's largely open. People are doing what they think is right. So some people are walking around with masks here, some people aren't, but everyone's basically doing what they think is right, which is what personal responsibility is about, what America is about actually. What we thought it was about. And if either system worked or didn't work, wouldn't we see exploding numbers in Florida and depressing numbers in California? But we don't. Actually, the numbers are on par, or if anything, now from what I understand, California is jumping up, and you know some of that. There's population differences and all that, but Florida also has a very elderly population, so you'd think there would be all these deaths. The point is, because everyone gets lost in the numbers, the point is that these things don't work. But what we do know is that we are destroying lives. There are people that have jobs, that own restaurants, mom and pop stores. Why is it that if you own a little electronics shop, you have to be closed, but Target doesn't have to be closed to sell the same exact stuff? Why can I go to Home Depot, which I go every freaking weekend basically just to do projects around my house, you know, because I'm building a castle. Right, exactly. But why can I go to Home Depot and it's jam-packed and I can buy as much stuff as I want, but the little mom and pop shop that does the same thing is not open? None of this makes sense, and we've conceded a tremendous amount of freedom to people who are more than happy to take it away from us.
Like that viral story with the Pineapple Saloon, which is in my old neighborhood in Sherman Oaks, and it's just been past the place.
I used to live in Sherman Oaks. You were a Sherman Oaks guy?
I was a Studio City guy for years, so it's all, but it's, you know, it's been
close enough.
A lot of trips down Ventura, a couple 100,000 it feels like. And just to see that little shop shut down, but a huge Netflix production or whatever it is open, there's no science to that. So here's my question to you, and I know you probably have anecdotal thoughts on it, but what is the vibe amongst people in Los Angeles, those who you can talk to? They have to know that the left is doing this to them. It's not the virus that's doing it to them, it's the left that's doing it.
Well, you probably know this as you lived in LA, but there seems to be an odd disconnect. People in LA can somehow disconnect the things that they vote for from the things that are happening. They don't seem to realize, I keep voting for all of these big government, high taxes, high control. You know, they keep doing that, and then they can't connect that to all the bad stuff that happens. Suddenly, a lot of homelessness, prices for houses go up, buildings are closing. But they seem to be able to do that. Finally, I actually do think, joking aside, I do think something has shifted in the last couple of months where people who are not particularly political, so I'm not even saying they're all far lefties, they're conservatives, whatever, just people who are just average people who didn't think politics was much of anything, they're suddenly going, wait a minute. Our mayor is a progressive. Our governor is a progressive. He was the progressive governor of mayor of San Francisco. He destroyed San Francisco. They're suddenly realizing that maybe there is a connection between voting habits and policies. So I think, if anything, at this point, Newsom and Garcetti and the rest of these clowns, they're doing a mass red pilling in ways that we could only dream of doing.
And I'm rooting for this so hard. I'm maybe too rosy on it, but I've got Los Angeles as a part of my life, and I'm hoping that some people will wake up. Two quick ones. Georgia. Any thoughts on the Georgia race? And Any thoughts on tech's role in all this? I know you're very wise to the sort of leftification, globalistification of big tech. You were pretty early on to that trend. They had such a big role in the 2020 election, the general. Do you see them having a role in Georgia? What are your thoughts on Georgia?
Well, I would say on the Georgia side, I mean, look, you have to vote Republican if you are sane and you live in Georgia. Putting aside whatever your feelings are on any particular policy, if there is any hope for us to have a government that will have a little push and pull, that will not be completely dominated by the Democrats, going on the assumption that Biden is going to be president, which I'm still not even sure of, but going on that assumption, we need a push and pull right now. If they take the Senate too, the radical thing that we are all fighting, because it's basically everyone versus the wokesters will have nothing to stop them. And that sort of leads us into the big tech part, which is big tech has shown us what it is. 2 weeks before the election, this is a little insider baseball stuff, but they changed the way you retweet. Remember that, where you suddenly had to hit retweet twice to retweet instead of once. And the reason they did that, obviously, was they were watching out for certain things they didn't want going viral. Perhaps things exposing fraud or whatever it might be after the election. Well, then just in the last few days, they've suddenly said, okay, we're going to go back to the old way of tweeting.
Right.
That's just
not at all suspicious.
Not at all suspicious, right? And because they show it to you. They show you how fraudulent right in front of your face. They're doing it in plain sight. So look, the ship has sailed with big tech. I mean, I think these companies are never, if Biden gets in, and especially if they have the Senate, Trump was the last thing that was stopping big tech from lowering the boom. But I think 2021 will be the year of the bannings. It'll be soft bannings at first,
right?
Where it'll be more algorithmic depressions, deboosting, shadow banning, that sort of thing. But then they'll start picking people off. Okay, I did start a tech company in the midst of all of this.
You mentioned that last time we spoke. You could plug it.
Yeah, locals.com. We're building digital homes for creators. Breitbart should be on there. You should be on there, because we are disconnected from big tech, and you own it, you control it, it's all yours. We're just giving you the tools to do what you think is right. And if you break the laws of the United States, it's not my problem, it's your problem.
I like it, and I like the entrepreneurial spirit, because we need more of that. A lot of people kind of just want to pull their head back into their turtle shell right now, and that's not the right approach.
Well, everyone just talks, and I thought, all right, why don't I do?
I like that. I like that. Using your powers for good and for awesome sometimes. Dave Rubin, don't burn this book, is his book. Dave Rubin Show, is that?
Don't tell, it's the Rubin Report. I'm going to shake your hand, but don't videotape this, obviously, because I don't want people to.
I do one more, because you're going to give a speech.
Yes,
and it is. I remember the Rubin Report. I apologize for that. You started out with the Rubin Report. You were the curious liberal.
Yeah.
Now here you are, Turning Point USA,
now I'm a right-wing maniac.
Trump MAGA headquarters. What are you going to say?
The way I do talks, and actually it's kind of funny, the last public talk that I did was 1 year ago yesterday, right here in this very room, which sucks. I love, and I love getting out there. It's going to be tough following me, for the record, because I'm going to bring it. I'm going to bring it.
I'm sure it is.
But I love getting out there with the people. So the idea that I haven't done a public talk in a year is crazy. Usually I have one idea when I go up there. I try not to script it. So I have one thought. I'm not going to give it away to you right now.
Yeah.
But I have one thought sitting there, and then we'll see what happens. Okay.